So, do you know that the term all right, A-L-L-R-I-G-H-T, those two words put together, all right, do you know that that word, that phrase disappeared for over 400 years from the planet? No one used that phrase, all right. It went missing in 1412. No, this is not a joke. I know it seems silly, but it's not a joke. It actually left our vocabulary in 1412, and it wasn't used again. For 400 years, the idea of all is right went absent. That phrase was missing in any language. All is right went missing. It reappeared in 1812. I'm imagining these dates are sorta, kinda. It reappeared in 1812, and it wasn't for 75 years after that, when the word all right first appeared as one word. A-L-R-I-G-H-T. So, for a while, there was a consciousness in this universe that did not believe that it was possible for everything to be right. All to be right. That went gone. It came back. But within 75 years, it went to the vernacular, to the acceptable understanding, it's all right. So we went from all right, everything is right, to, now it's missing completely, back to all right, freaked out and said, no, it's just all right. I want you to think about that. And then I want to think about you to think about your life and find out where in that history are you? Are you smack dab right in the middle of everything being perfect no matter what goes on in your life? It's all right? Or are you, all right, or in Philadelphia, as we say, aight, 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 all right, it's okay, it's fine, and it's the status quo. So we've gone from all right to all right, the status quo. Now what's interesting, Reverend John Scott, who was the last speaker for us from the Temple of Light Center for Spiritual Living in Kingston, Jamaica, he taught us this word, and I'm going to ask you to say it. It's Irie. Could you say that? Irie. So that when someone asks you, how are you? It's like, I'm Irie. And what it means is, and here's the thing, he told us it means all right. If you're in Jamaica and you say Irie, it means all right. I hate to correct a Jamaican about Jamaica, but I looked it up, and it's Rastafarian, but what it means is the ultimate positive. So Irie, when you are told Irie, when you say, how are you? I'm Irie, you mean I am the ultimate positive I could ever possibly be in my life. Now I'm going to ask you, how often can you say that, honestly? I'm Irie. Now what's interesting, maybe in Jamaica, maybe I don't have to correct him, maybe what Dr. John Scott means is that that's the natural state of being. I'm Irie. And all right, maybe that's what that's supposed to mean, but it doesn't for us. Ernest Holmes, in this thing called You, said, everything must find fulfillment or perish. Everything must find fulfillment or perish. And I think we have added another state to that. Fulfillment or perish, or possibly just be all right. Just be okay. And I just want to tell you, my experience at Asilomar was very clear that it's just not all right to be okay. It's just not acceptable anymore for me to be or to live in or to allow the status quo anymore. One of the ministers said that we were not born to live small. We were not born to live small. We were born to fulfill. We were born to fulfill that which comes through us. How many people here today have some idea, some desire, something in them that they know they want to fulfill? Raise your hand. Okay, now, how many of you don't have something like that in your life? Raise your hand. Those hands are a little smaller. Raise them high. Okay, no one. Okay, one person. This week at Asilomar for me kind of cracked me open. It did. I'm someone who believes in greatness. I believe in the ultimate. I believe in life, living life to the fullest. It's our mission statement, for goodness sake. Living life to the fullest, having at it. And yet, there's a part of me that when I really look, I have to ask myself, how far do I take that? Have I bought into, is there any part of my life where I have bought into, it's all right. It's all right. And now I know someone's going to say to me after this, you know, being all right is good. I know that. I'm not arguing that. But I am asking us to expand on this just a little bit here today. So, the title of my talk today is Open and Available. Open and available. We were born to fulfill. We were born to fulfill. We were born to fulfill that within us that is ours to fulfill. Now, what's mine to fulfill is different than what's yours to fulfill. One of our problems is we keep being told what's ours to fulfill. You cannot tell me what is mine to fulfill. How would you know? And parents, I'm here to tell you, don't tell your children what's theirs to fulfill. Because they'll tell you, no, it's not. So quick. And some of us, I think, are still trying to fulfill things our parents told us was ours to fulfill. I think we're still trying to fulfill things that we told ourselves was ours to fulfill. It no longer fits us. We no longer care. And we're still trying to do it. Anybody else? So today, I'd like us to just open ourselves up. The talk is open and available. If we are born to fulfill, the question is how? And that's what I want to get at today. How? If we are born to fulfill the desire, the divine desire, how do we do that? Because if there's anything religious science is here to do, if there's anything this teaching is here to do, it's to give us a roadmap of how to do it. We should not be a teaching that is just about ideology and philosophy. And thank you, Jonathan, for speaking what you spoke, because I had two choices today, to go to that talk or this talk. And I went to this talk. Guess mind already knew you were going to that talk. We are not here to just find a teaching that sounds great and it's fun to read. Because all of you know the Science Mind textbook is a blast to read. So we're not here to just sit on the periphery, to be put in a hotel room that is so far away from the action. It takes you a day to get there from chapel. So you're here to be thrust right into the center of life and live it to the fullest. So my question is how? In order to allow something within me to fulfill itself, I must be open and available. So let's start with open. Open-minded. I consider myself a very open-minded person. But I can tell you that this week, sitting at a Silomar, I recognized how closed my mind can be sometimes. And my mind can be closed while I think it's wide open. Because the wide openness that I decide to be is actually a closed room. Can you follow that? That I say I'm wide open to this because I am wide open to this. To this. What about all this? That's not wide open. So the thing is, are you willing to live life as the question itself and live in the question enough that you are never absolutely certain of anything except one thing? And that is that you will at all times be all right. That's what we teach. We have a philosophy that gives us a foundation. It gives us roots. It gives us the ability to feel safe no matter where we go, no matter who we're with, no matter what's going on. God is present. That's who I am. That's what I am. So, as I said, I was cracked open. There were a lot of workshops. There was very interesting. I went to the teen workshop. And the day of the teen workshop, it was all the teens and a bunch of adults. And you get in this group with these teens, and they said, now what we're going to do is we're going to hand you out paint, and you're going to write things on one another's bodies and faces and everything. And my instant reaction was, not on my body. No, I don't do things. You don't paint on me. And definitely not the face. And that's what I'm hearing. in my mind. I don't say this, of course, yet. And then they give us these papers. And they say, here's a sheet of paper. For those of you who don't want to be painted on as though they were just listening to my subtext, here's a sheet of paper that they can write on. That way you can just put the paper on your body and write on it. And this girl sitting next to me, she just kind of turns to me and she just says, she says, oh, you don't want to do that. That's like for people that are afraid. Now I have been called to challenge. So I said, okay. So they start to come out, and I think maybe the more words I write, no one will be able to catch me. I'll be a moving target. Beautiful, lovely, happy, and no one can catch me. Well, 3 of them came this way, and they were like, Reverend James, just stand still for a minute. I was like, all right. And they said, could you take your shirt off? And I had a T-shirt under it, of course. I said, could you take your shirt off? I said, sure, and I had on this shirtless, this sleeveless shirt, and as you all know, I've been really buffing it up. And this one teenage girl, she was like 15, 16, and she went, oh, I am writing stud muffin down your arm. And I started thinking, these affirmations work for me. It works. So she writes stud muffin, then this other girl writes sexy, and there were all these great words, and then someone said, do you have a 6-pack? Because we'd love to write across it. I was like, no and no. I said, I have a 4-pack. I'm working at it. But it was just this great. And then they started writing on my face. You really get to know how open you are when someone writes on your face and you don't know what they've written. I have no idea. So they started writing on my face, and then my son comes running across the room from his group and says, I need to write on your forehead. I'm like, oh, okay. So he writes on my forehead, and I'm sitting there going, I'm doing that sense thing going, I think that was a P. This could go in many different directions. And he goes to leave. I go, well, what did you write? He wrote, I wrote pony. I was like, what does pony mean? He said, it's a word. I was like, but what does it mean in reference to me? He says, well, you're like a pony. I was like, okay. But it made me think in this exercise. I was like, how often am I interpreting what people are telling me about myself and trying to make something out of it? As if it has any bearing on who I really am. I am not a pony. I am a stallion. No, So anyway, so I end up in this like tank top with all these words all over me, and I just cracked open. I was just, and then when I went in the mirror, I noticed that someone wrote on my cheek, open. And I was like, wow, okay. So, open. The first way, the only way you are going to be able to literally allow life in is to be open to it. How often do you say no? Just gut. It's just your instinct. No, I don't do that. No, that's not who I am. No, I don't eat that. No, I don't go to those places. I don't like those kind of movies. No, I don't visit that kind of city. Whatever. No, I don't. No, I don't do this. I don't do that. I don't do that. I don't do this. We have got to be the generation that gets rid of that. We have to be. And when I say generation, I mean anyone alive on earth at this moment. Lest we all think. It's funny, too, because the young adult movement, which I see as just expanding like by leaps and bounds in our community. The young adults, meaning right now, I think the young adults are 18 to 32 or something like that. And I said to one of the young adults who was 29, I said, wow, you're going to be out of there in a minute. He goes, no, because by the time I hit 32, the young adults will be any age. It's a consciousness, it's not an age. And I get it. And it's time for us to be a consciousness, not an age. There's this great Ricky Byers-Beckwith song that we're going to be doing at the Taizé. If you've never been to a Taizé, you need to come to this Taizé this Wednesday night. It is going to be awesome. And it's called In the Land of I Am. And the lyric is, in the land of I am more than I have been. I am more than I will be. I am all that I am. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. In the land of I am more than I have been, more than I will be, all that I am. In any given moment, when I get the I am and know who I am, I'm infinitely possible. So I was on the treadmill, and I was running on the treadmill, and I'm listening to Ricky, and it's like, in the land of I am, and I'm running on the treadmill, and all of a sudden I got it. Because I heard, I am more than I have been, and I uprooted this belief that I would never be as strong or as buff or as healthy as I was when I was this bodybuilding 30-year-old. And I went, wait, I'm more than I have been. Why do I believe I will never be that again? Anybody have that, like where you go, oh, I'll never be that again. I'm now 58 years old. I'm 57. I'm now 57 years old. I'm trying out 58. I'm 57 years old. And so to think that I could go back and be that 30, I think I was 30 when I did this to my body, that I can be this ripped, amazing bodybuilding man. And I thought, oh no, I'm more than I have been. Talk about affirmations. I got out of a shower a couple days later, and my husband turns to me and he says, oh my God, James, you kind of look like you did when I met you at 33. And I went, that's the plan. And I thought, this stuff really works. It really works to uproot those beliefs that tell us one thing, because that belief is having me live there. I'm living there. Here's who I am. Here's the only thing I can do at this age. So I started thinking, why do I think I couldn't dance as well as I did back then? What, because I've had 2 knee surgeries? Why? I couldn't do knee spins across the floor like I couldn't do them then. Why do I think I can do them now? I just thought of that. I never did those that well. Anything you think limits you, I'm here to tell you today, you're wrong. And I said anything. Anything you think limits you, you are wrong. You must learn, we all must learn, to be absolutely open. Now, next part, open and available. I can get myself open. I can meditate myself into such an open state. I can get myself open. I can fearlessly say yes when I want to say no. I can open myself up. I can go into a workshop with Sharon Earl, and the two of us just sitting across from each other. And when this workshop started, my mind was like, oh God, these workshops where you tie strings around one another and you're stuck together and looking in each other's eyes. What if they had bad food that you don't like their breath? What's going to happen here? Not Sharon, of course. But that's how I started. And so then the person tells us, sing this, say that, look into the person's eyes. And Sharon and I are looking at each other's eyes and saying all these things. And all of a sudden, towards the end of the exercise, she asked us to sing You Are the Face of God to one another. And I've heard that song 1,000 times. And I think, did I roll my eyes? I think I might have rolled my eyes like, oh God. So we start, I'm being honest. Can you tell? I could say it was a lovely week and I did all the spiritual things. I'm back more spiritual than ever. And I am, but because I actually let myself go through all the crap. So, we're singing You Are the Face of God, and all of a sudden I hear her voice. I stop thinking, and I'm just open to hearing. And I hear Sharon singing You Are the Face of God, and those blue eyes of her, they're just too dangerous to look into. And so she's staring at me, and she's singing You Are the Face of God, and I believed her. And I just lost it. I just started laughing and crying all at the same time. And of course, this makes Sharon thrilled. She's now like, yes, yes. And this is the end of the week, too. So the entire week. And I got to tell you, when I started the week, I had one intention. God, show me what I need to know. In every area of my life, show me what I need to know. I am willing for you to show me what I need to know. So I set the intention right at the top of the week. Crack me open. I am open to knowing what I need to know. I am open to loving who I need to love, and that's everybody. I am open to stop being judgmental, stop having opinions. I am open to all of it. Just show me. So, that's open, available. So, Jonathan was just up here telling you his story. What he didn't tell you or what I'm going to tell you about what he told you. The only reason Jonathan had a trajectory from his first day at NoHo to his now job at Toho, his only reason for that was because Jonathan was available. He was available. He made himself available. Now, this is a big thing. This is a huge deal to me, I realized this week. How available are you for your good? How available are you for the things in your life that you say you want? Are you available for the life you say is yours to have? But are you available? And guess when you're not available? When your mind knows something else. And guess what the something else may be? It's not possible. I didn't do it before. I don't know, maybe this won't happen for me. That means you're unavailable. Your mind is not available. You know, when I was an actor, I remember this one time I got a commercial. I was put on a veil for a commercial. On a veil means that you are available. When they tell you you are on a veil, that means you cannot do anything else because you are on a veil. You are available. And you have told the casting director and the producers that you are available should they give you the job. Have you told God yes to God's asking you and putting you on a veil? Have you literally said, I am available for my highest good, even if it's going to pluck me out of NoHo and take me to Tuat? No, because some of us say, yeah, but I can't do that. That won't work for me because I'm happy and settled here. You know, I've been saying, I am here as long as my children are here. You know, when they go to college, I don't know what's going to happen. But I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow because I've decided to tell God I'm on a veil. I am available to be used however God wants to use me. And I don't know what that means, and nor should I. Because as soon as I know what it means, oh my God, that's the problem. As soon as I know what it means, I've boxed it up. So many of you are sitting out here today who believe you know exactly what you're supposed to be doing. And I'm here today to ask you, don't know so much. Know less. In fact, have amnesia. Don't know anything. What if you took today and said, everything I know, just say God showed up and said, I'm here to tell you that everything I ever told you, everything that you ever knew is a lie. Now what? I'd be pretty available to hear what's next. If everything went away, I'd be pretty interested in knowing, oh really? Then what now? And my mind would be instantly open because I would be ready to hear, well what? I have nothing else in here. What? Give me something. And yet that's where we need to be. On a veil. We need to be available to success. We need to be available to love. Do you know how many people I counsel who come to me because they want to find their soulmate, but by the time they're done talking with me, I have to look at them and say, you don't want anybody. You really don't. You can't tell me you want your soulmate, but you don't want them to live with you. You'd like it to live in a different state because you like the idea of not seeing them that often. That's not so good. If you want your soulmate, then be willing to take your soulmate, hook, line, and sinker, and see where the two of you go from there. That'll attract it. All these little rules and regulations that we put ourselves through. So, are you on a veil? Yes or no? Yes. Okay. The only mind that is available is a mind that is open. So this week, you get to live in the possibility. This week, you get to say to yourself, I'm willing to live different. I'm willing to be open to my life being different. And here's the thing about that. The minute you say, I'm willing to be open to my life being different, whoa, just watch what happens. I am open and available to whatever this universe has in store for me. Because then we go back to this concept of there is something, as Ernest Holmes says, there is something in you that is so amazing, so magnificent, so possible, that it must bubble up through you in order to be fulfilled. And you have two choices, to either be fulfilled or for it to die. Because the other choice, today, is no longer an option. I've taken it off the menu. It's not all right anymore for you to just be okay in life, to just be all right. We were not born to just be all right. We were not born to be the extras in the movie of our life. How about that? They're doing a biop about my life and I'm an extra? Who can play me better than me? Brad Pitt, maybe, but who could? That's just if I were casting me. No, he can't. Can he? He doesn't have these guns today. So, stud muffin, that's right. I still have it on there. No, I'm kidding. No one can play you better than you can play you, but I fear many of you aren't playing you. Many of you are playing some version of you that you have bought into. So today is our opportunity to first be open. First be open to all of this. Be open to this teaching. Be open to taking this teaching into your world. Be open to when someone says to you, oh, are you do you go to church? Yes, I do. This is what we believe. This is who I am. I'm a religious scientist. And you don't have to say I'm a religious scientist, which is not Scientology. Don't excuse yourself. I'm a religious scientist. If they say, are you a Scientologist, then you can say, no, I'm a religious scientist. And without belittling another religion, we can just say, no, we believe in love. We believe that every single person is the center of God. And as such, each one of us has the allness of the universe to express at any given moment. I'll tell you, if I didn't know this teaching, and you said that to me, and you were having a good life, and that's the second part, you were really, literally exhibiting this life, I'd be like, I will have what she's having. And the more people that go through life saying, I want what that person has. I want to live that life. I want to be that happy. I want to find love like that person has love. I want to live in opulence the way that person lives in opulence. When everybody sees us living that way, on availability to give God the perfect channel to flow through us and let us live a life unimaginable maybe in the past, as soon as that happens, this whole world will start actually vibrating at the same vibration. They can go to a different religion. That's not important. They can be Catholics and still get that they're God. They can be Jewish and still get that they're God. They can be Scientologists and still get that they're God. And as we all get that we're God, now we're living in oneness. We are open and available, and everything will fall through us, and life will be good. You want that? Yes. So do I. Namaste. Thank you. Thank you.